According to legend, the Mapinguari was once a shaman that lived in the Amazon. And this shaman discovered immortality, and by becoming immortal, he angered the gods, so they cursed him into a beast destined to wander the Amazon alone for eternity. And throughout the centuries, there have been many sightings of the Mapinguari. Now, many believe that this monster is actually a giant ground sloth. It is estimated that the giant ground sloth went extinct about 10,000 years ago. But since there have been so many reported sightings by the natives, some scientists believe that this huge sloth still might exist in the remote parts of the Amazon. In 1994, a group of scientists, technicians, and Indian guides went on an expedition into the Amazon in hopes of proving that the giant ground sloth still might exist. And before this expedition, Dr. David Oren interviewed over 100 natives who claimed that they had seen the Mapinguari. And most of these eyewitnesses basically described a huge sloth-like creature, although some described more of a Bigfoot-like creature. Now sadly, this expedition didn't find any evidence of the Mapinguari or any huge sloth Bigfoot-like creature, but I do believe that it's possible that a large unknown creature could still exist in the remote regions of the Amazon. Now what I want to talk about today is, could the giant ground sloth still exist in North America? And could they be responsible for some of these Bigfoot sightings? I was reading an article on Mysterious Universe that I found to be very interesting. It linked a giant ground sloth to one of the most famous Bigfoot sightings in America. In 1972, a 15-year-old Doris Harrison was standing in the kitchen when she heard her younger brother screaming. And when she looked out of her kitchen window to see what the heck was going on, she saw a huge hairy bipedal creature that appeared to have a dead dog under its arm. She stated that it wasn't a man, and it wasn't a bear. This creature was also seen by many other eyewitnesses, making this a credible case, and to this day their stories have never changed. Now this creature has come to be known as Momo the Missouri Monster, and what's unique about Momo is that according to the footprints they found, it only had 3 toes, making some believe that it wasn't a Bigfoot at all, but a giant ground sloth. And also all the eyewitness descriptions of this creature was a little bit different than your typical North American Bigfoot sighting. There's also another case that happened in 1936 when a fisherman, Ralph Duff, told the authorities that a large hairy animal had torn his dog to shreds. And his wife saw the animal that did this, and when she screamed, the creature ran off. She stated that it was a towering monster larger than any bear, and they believed at the time that it was some sort of ape. And the residents that lived within this area started to hear very loud shrieks that appeared to be coming from a very large animal. They never heard anything like it before. Now these people were scared, so they formed posses and tried to capture this creature, and it was reported that on one of these hunts a police dog was let loose and it was later found badly injured and it had to be put down. Then a couple of days later, a man who wished to remain anonymous walked into the local newspaper's office and told a journalist that about 2 years ago, he and his uncle were on an expedition in Mexico when they captured a giant ground sloth, and on their way back home, it escaped near Evansville. Now what I find fascinating about this case is this location is not that far away from where people saw Momo the Missouri Monster 36 years later. And it's also hard to ignore the connection between all these dead dogs. The first eyewitness to see Momo stated that this creature had a dead dog under its arms. Another sighting that I found on Phantom and Monsters website stated that one day a man was working the fields when he saw a large animal moving through the trees of a swampy area. And as he was just staring and wondering what this creature could possibly be, he realized that this was something he had never seen before. It walked on all fours, but it was way bigger than a bear. And later, he saw a picture of the legendary Mapinguari, and he was shocked because he believed this was the creature that he saw. He also noticed that a lot of cypress trees around his area were torn up pretty badly, but he never saw this creature ever again. There are also many other sightings, mainly in the south, of creatures thought to be a Bigfoot. But yet again, it only had 3 toes according to his tracks, such as the Honey Island Swamp Monster and the Fluke Monster, making some suggest that maybe there's a hidden population of giant ground sloths in this region. And there are many swamps and huge forested areas here for a creature to hide from the modern world, and the giant ground sloth can walk on 2 legs just like a Bigfoot. But could it be fast enough? Bigfoot is believed to be a very fast and agile creature, but when I picture a sloth, I think of a very slow animal. And if these giant ground sloths are just as slow as their cousins, I highly doubt that there could still be a population of them here in the United States. Maybe in the Amazon, but not in the States. There was also another case in the 1980s when an Inuit family was fishing, when they saw an animal way bigger than a grizzly bear. And when they were shown pictures to see what animal they saw, they pointed to a giant ground sloth. And this location is just as remote, if not more remote, than the Amazon. Now, I'm fascinated by this theory that giant ground sloths might still exist and be responsible for some of these Bigfoot sightings, and I'm curious to know, what do you guys think? Do you think that it could be possible for an animal this large to hide from us in this day and age? Until next time, this is Paranormal Junkie. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned.